Have you ever wondered where the television signal you are watching is coming from?
Welcome to True North.
Good evening and welcome to Maine Watch.
Welcome to From the Vault, a celebration of 60 years of Maine public television. From August of 1997 through February of 1998, Maine public production teams spent time in several communities throughout the state. 4 hour-long documentaries were the result. The series Our Stories took an in-depth look at the families, issues, heritage, and challenges in 4 different areas of Maine. From a dairy farm family in Bethel to a lobster fishing family on Islesford, a Native American family in Indian Township, and a potato farming family in Fort Kent, which is tonight's episode. We go inside the lives of the Bouchard family and their challenges in keeping the family farm and Acadian traditions alive. Now, in the 24 years since this documentary first aired, several of the area's family farms have been lost, but the Bouchards found success by bringing traditional Acadian food to the mainstream. I'm sure you're familiar with their distinctive ploy mix found in stores. And if you haven't made yourself some with butter or jam or maple syrup or chocolate or just about anything, you are missing out. Check out their online shop for ploy mix and more at ploy.com. The Bouchards themselves are doing fine. Alban and Rita, the patriarch and matriarch you will get to know, are doing well in their 90s, and their son Joe and their grandson Philip, who you will see as a 2-year-old in this show, are busy keeping the family farm going. This is our final episode of From the Vault as we wrap up our year-long celebration of serving the people of Maine and Canada for the past 60 years. We hope you've enjoyed looking back at just some of the programs we have produced over 7 decades. All the episodes are on Maine Public Passport or at youtube.com/MainePublic. Thank you for the comments and especially the memories you have shared with us. And of course, thank you for watching and supporting Maine Public. You ensure that Maine stories will continue to be told and available for future generations. Now, let's head up to the valley as we go back to 1998 for Our Stories, Harvest of Hope.
It's hard to tell you exactly how they came here. That dates way back when as far as we can tell, is when the Indians were here. And these people came in from, a lot of them were deported out of Nova Scotia, and they settled along the St. John River. The first deed that I have in hand dates way back in 1843, when the Commonwealth of Massachusetts gave them a deed to the land that they were on. Since then, it has been passed on from generation to generation up until today, and the Bouchard name is still on these properties that were back then. I'm sure that way back in the 1800s there was not the crops that we grow now on these lands, because it was all wooded land and they had to clear that land, much to their sweat of brow that they did that. It was a pretty rough job doing it, and what I remember doing was doing that with horses. It was a big job because you take a big stump of tree the size of maybe a foot and a half. It would take a day to just pull that stump out, you know, with pickaxe and shovels and team of horses to chain the stumps and pull them out, root by root. And that's the way that they cleared the land. There's not a day that he was sick in his life that I remember. I think the year that he died, I think he was 83 when he died. And that summer he pitched hay with a pitchfork. So, you know, you worked then till your dying days if you were not, didn't have cancer or whatever you died of. And this is what the type of grandfather that I remember. My father was a hard-working man. Being a farmer, you have to be a hard-working man. I think that he was more or less like my grandfather. I farmed with my father up until 1958, I think, when he retired, and then I was on my own.
I remember, I think 10 years old was my first year on the harvester. I don't know if it was a full day and stuff, but I started when I was 9, 10. And since then, you know, when I was younger and growing up in grammar school and stuff, I was always with my father on the tractor, or, you know, just with him. And I always said up until I got out of high school that I'd never be a farmer, but I just fell into it, and it's not so bad after all, I guess. Let me close it a little bit.
It doesn't spread as far either.
No, well, that's turning a lot slower. Let me look in the tanks. I went to college for agriculture, planning on coming back and farming. When I got out, it was more or less my decision to actually farm, and I got looking around at other operations and seeing what they had and what they were working with throughout the county here, more in the valley. I couldn't really let it go. Hey Phil, spread this one out. Encore j'ai mouillé ici. Attendez à la grandeur.
All of Joe's family are away. He's the only one that stayed because he's the only boy. He's the baby of the family, and I think in a way he felt like he had to take over the farm.
when Joe was still a young man, we sent him to college. He went to college, went to University of Maine. These years were bad, really bad in farming. We had great big competition from the West, and our Canadian counterpart came in pretty strong, and we could not compete with them. So the year he went out of college, that was the year that was a real disaster. That was the year of 1985, I remember very well. And that year alone, I lost $168,000 in farming.
Vad blir next question?
Why did it seem damp a little on top?
Well, I shut my fan off 3 days ago there when it was cold. I'm just putting my fans on.
When he came out of college, I tried to convince him not to do it, to do something else. I mean, he was a smart young man, and he could do anything. He had the college education, and he could do anything that he wanted to do it. He says, Dad, he says, I'd like to farm. He says, I really would like to farm.
Well, you got a few little holes in
Well,
which
that has to be fixed, I know that.
Tu n'as un autre en arrière, tu sais, puis que le trou là, au fond, là, la chaleur monte au travers de ça. Là.
Ben,
Tandis que des patates, tu devrais checker, là, puis pour essayer que c'est que...
avant qu'il neige, c'est fret, ça. Ça tout le temps, c'est fret.
I said, Joe, I said, if you want to farm, I'll do anything I can to help you. And this is what I've been doing since he's taken over. And much to my surprise, he's done very well.
It was always an option I had, and if I wanted to, it was there. If I didn't want to, well, hey, no big deal there. But it was a decision that was made on my own.
If Joe would win $1 million tomorrow, he would farm. That's just what he likes to do. It's too bad that most of the years there's not too much money to be made in it, but he still takes a lot of bad years to get somebody to get out of it when it's in them. And it's kind of like gambling also. You're kind of waiting for that good year and trying to hang into it, and I think this is the 4th generation of farmers, and he doesn't want to be the one to lose it.
He's been at it for many years, for 40 some years, and he didn't get to where he is by making mistakes. I'm always asking him for advice. More often than I'd like, because I'd like to. You always want to be self-sufficient or whatever, but he plays a big role.
I don't think that any young man going out of farming on his own really can do it unless he has some advice from people who has been there, who's been through what farming is all about. And I give him as much advice as I can. Some of my advice he takes and some he leaves aside. Those that he leaves aside, he goes on his own. He does better than what I would have done.
Where is the organelle?
Right there.
No, right, put it over there so you can...
It's going that way.
You sure?
Positive.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we start off on a low key, and then when we end up, when it's time to quit, if there would be a fly on the wall, they'd think we'd be yelling at each other. Well, that's one there, mais il y a rien qu'un plug après, pas utile.
That's all you need?
Well, you get
For the sweep?
You get the sweep, and you have the other auger to run there. L'auger qui saute du tank.
Il y a 2-3 litres dans la moulette.
But you still need one to go right in the tank, Joe.
Ah, mais il est pas perdu. It's arrêté, là. Ah, Christ! Unplug it! Unplug it, Dad. No! Unplug the other one, too.
Farming is a struggle. I know I've farmed for 50 years, so.
How old are you now?
Going on 71. So I've seen the good and the bad. It's a good life, though. Nothing I like more to get on that thing and drive that thing till 9 o'clock at night. Hurts me to get up in the morning now, but it never used to. Farming is a funny business. You can grow a crop, but you cannot predict the price that you're going to get for these potatoes. I remember one year in 1950. In the fall, the potatoes were $5.50 field run out of the field. I remember my father sold half of the crop then, and the other half we kept until spring because we thought, and more or less that was more or less my doing. I'm sorry to this day. I'm still sorry that I did it, but you know, I was farming with my father then as partnership, and my father said, well, he said, we're doing a good job here, we're making money. I think maybe we should sell the whole thing. I said, Dad, I says, if potatoes sell in the fall at $5.50, we might get 10 by May. Well, in June, I hauled the rest of the crop, I hauled them to a starch factory for 35 cents a barrel.
You think you're going to get a price for those potatoes this year at all?
Well, these potatoes are more or less all contracted.
Okay, but the ones that are not?
Well, I understand that what I heard that the price started at $1.30, 10, and they've dropped it to between 90 and $1 now.
Oh, because the
potatoes are coming out of the field.
Yeah, there's plenty coming out.
Yes, yes.
See, that's what they want. They want potatoes year round. Oh.
Well, if we have to stick with the market, it's not like it used to be 20 years ago. When you and I were farming. No. We have to give them what they want 12 months out of the year if we want to stay in business.
That's why we're better off to be out of that. I'm glad I'm out of it.
Well, don't forget that a lot of people are getting out. A lot of people have gotten out.
And that's not good, you know.
No, it's not good.
It's not good.
Well, in my early days of farming, we've had in the area itself, in the Fort Kent area itself, we had 9 tractor dealers. Today, you don't have one machinery dealer. We don't have one repair shop. So we have to do all our own repairs. If something breaks down on our machinery that we need a new piece, we have to drive 50 to 60 miles to one way to get that piece of machinery. So that is quite a burden on us. We had maybe, I would say maybe in the Fort Kent area, we had anywhere between 100 and 120 farmers. Today we stand at 11. You cannot live alone. You cannot farm alone. You have to have some neighbors to farm with. You have to have people to depend on. You help them and they help you.
It's been difficult. We've had pressure from the Canadians. We've had weather problems which cause breakdown in storage. So there's been quite a few reasons that we've been having a hard time in the valley here anyway. And we are far from the market. Other areas seem to be growing potatoes much cheaper than we can. So it's been tough. It's been tough. If it's not the weather, it's the buyer of the product or it's a seller of the supplies you need. So you always seem to be at somebody's mercy, which is kind of hard to digest sometimes, but that's, if you wouldn't like the job, you wouldn't be in it. So that's just part of the game, I guess.
Or you put in a lot of money in the ground in the spring, you try to put every piece of thing that you've grown back in storage. Hopefully you can sell it during the winter and make a living. We haven't done that in the past 10 years.
Farming is too big a business. It's too big a business. The family farm, I'm afraid, is going down the drain. We don't like it. I don't like it. I'm seeing that the farmers in maybe very short 20 years from now, you might have even fewer farmers than this. But we will have to pay much more for whatever we buy to put on the table. So it's not helping you, it's not helping the economy, and it's not helping the farmers. It takes only one bad year. One bad year can wipe you out. And I've seen that. I've seen it happen to so many people that it scares me.
Philip is 2. He's a typical boy, typical 2-year-old, into things.
Philip, what kind of hands do you have? What kind of hands? Meme. Meme hands? Those are Pepe hands.
Pepe. Can you say Pepe hands? No.
Let me see your Pepe hands. See?
No.
Can I see your Pepe hands? Oh, look how wrinkly. Pepe hands, huh?
Yeah.
And Julie has Meme hands?
Yes.
He's pretty easygoing and not too cranky and goes to bed like a charm. Very easy unless he's not feeling good, but overall, pretty easy. The future farmer of America. I don't know if I want that, but he was born saying boom boom, so he'll probably eventually be riding tractors and doing the whole 9 yards, just like Joe did.
Philip, come here. Come warm me up.
Julie too can warm you up, Dad.
Hi, what's in your mouth? What is that? Oh no, take that out of your... Jeez, Christ.
What is it?
It's a bee that's around his tooth. Oh, Philip's wide open. Yeah. He's 2 years old and he's all over the place. I don't see him much during the day. I'm gone before he gets up, and a lot of times I don't see him for 6, 7 o'clock, so I can't avoid him at that time. He's all over me. But he's just starting to talk there, and he's fun right now until he gets in trouble.
Father, you are holy indeed, and all creation I give you praise. All life, all holiness comes from you through your Son, Jesus Christ our Lord.
I'd like to see him, take this over, but that's a ways down the road. If everything is going right, you don't want to let him take this over when you're in the hole or when you're struggling. You don't want to see that happen.
Oh, look, little baby one. It's a cute one. For your collection. Yep. Julie. Julie's 5. She's going to kindergarten. Well, make sure you don't trip on anything. All the stuff you got. What are you gonna do with all this? Keep them. Keep them?
All ready for school? New haircut?
And a new bag.
A new what?
A bag. You got me wet.
Oh, I got you wet, sorry.
She's a good kid too. She's got her moments. She's an overall good kid. She's just starting to figure out what her interests are. She does baton. She likes to be in parades, and she's a singer too. She was a very early talker. She was talking sentences at 1 and singing songs at 2, and she's pretty smart too. She's a smart girl.
Grass. I have dreams about horses. I think of riding it down the back road that we have. Probably a quarter horse, because they're the fastest horses in the world. Can't really draw me on top of it because I don't draw people well. I like soccer a lot. That's my favorite sport. We have a team in Fort Kent, Warriors. We have 4 teams actually, but I'm on the Warriors team. And we haven't lost a game yet, except we tied one.
Well, Kelsey, the oldest one, oldest girl, she loves the outdoors like all of them.
It's either centiliter or milliliter, I'm not sure. The length of the school would be 90 meters. Wow. Let me see your conversion table.
She's just started the 7th grade. It's hard to juggle sports and studies, but if she can do it this year, she should be all set for a while, I guess.
She's a little entrepreneur. She likes to make money, so she's always looking for ways to make money. She's making these little beaded necklaces right now.
I like it when the leaves turn color, because all the red and orange and green and yellow stuff all mixed together. Harvest only lasts a week and a half to 2 weeks if everything goes good, but it seems like 3 months.
Well, there's not too much peace of mind that comes in the actual harvest. It's kind of a hectic time of the year, here anyway. You know, you work all summer, and if harvest doesn't go well or something happens, you almost worked all summer for nothing. It all accumulates to that 2-3 week period throughout in the year.
Harvest was a little on the rough side this year, I found. Very stressful. A lot of breakdowns. The weather wasn't really that great. First week we had a lot of rain, and they dug anyway. Not all the time, but when they could, they would. And we had some frost in the morning, so they had to start a couple hours later. And the nice days where they could have gone from 6 to 8, they had a lot of breakdowns. They'd work a couple hours, break down a couple hours. Not fun. Joe was stressed out, which stresses me out, which stresses the kids out.
Is it broke right off?
No, it's burnt right out. Well, hey, let's take a half hour. I'm gonna go in town and get 2 belts. Cut my tractor off. I'll be down in about 10 minutes. I need a belt, a B belt. I got the old one. I got no idea what the length is. Okay, thank you. Bye. Okay, I want to make it turn before tightening them up. I'm going to snug them up. Tell me what you got.
Some washer. Other than that, I got some more washers here.
Just a hair more. Just a hair.
Oh! Oh! Cried, you guys.
Must have hit a rock somewhere, and it, well, there's a rod that goes in and holds this thing down here, but when you hit a rock, that snapped this bolt, and it broke this rod, which connects to this arm here. This arm holds this down. So now he went to weld that rod back on.
your tape?
Tape. Tape.
Top of the arm?
Top of the arm.
Pliers.
Get the pliers to bend the bottom.
Vice grips. I think that's tight now.
Make sure those are tight. Where's the big adjustable?
Where's the adjustable? I think I had it pretty tight there.
Tighten the bottom one too there. Okay, let's go.
How'd it go? Don't ask.
It came and went. Didn't go good tonight though.
You done that field anyway?
Tomorrow.
Finally got that belt working forever?
The belt wasn't a big deal. I hit a piece of ledge and broke the bottom of the harvester.
That's not good.
No.
When it's bad on Joe, it's bad on me. And he had a few bad days. Well, yeah, a few really bad days. And when you get bad days, it just takes one good bad day to ruin your week. I mean, he's not one of these farmers that would come home and say, this is going wrong and this is going wrong, get out of my way. It's not like that, which I'm glad. Could be worse. But he doesn't say anything. It's like, I don't exist. Comes in, does his thing, walks out, bye. That's it.
She always asks me how things are going, and I don't want to tell her because it seems like an omen. Whenever you say that you're almost done or you have so much left, you know, things seem to not go so well after that. It's hard on everybody. Then again, it all depends how it goes in the field. If everything goes well, you don't have a problem, the weather's on your side, you know, the tension isn't there. But when the weather's not on your side and you have other problems, you see fall moving right along and the weather's not getting any better, so you kind of tend to get all tensed up.
We started a week already and we haven't put in a full day's work yet. A little frost and a little rain, and so we're playing with Mother Nature, and she's the boss, and she always has been, and she always will be.
You get disgusted, but you know, the next day the sun comes up and it's a different. You still remember what happened the night before, though. But you know, it's just you forget easy, and you just go along and hope it'll be better the next day.
Here, most of the people are Catholics, though you have a lot of people that are getting out of the Catholic Church and going into different religions for whatever reason, I don't know, but around here it's mostly Catholics. What's nice about the Catholic religion, and maybe all religions, I don't know about them too much, but they really look up to the farmers a little bit.
God, our Creator, who never cease to bestow your bounteous fruits from the rains of the heavens and the riches of the soil, We thank your loving majesty for this year's harvest. Through these blessings of your generosity, you have fulfilled the hopes of your children.
Well, you always got to have faith, I guess, no matter what you're doing. But again, you got to pray you're going to get the weather for it, because it's 90% of what goes on boils down to the weather. If you don't get the weather, you don't get the quality crop that you hope.
For our sake, he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. He suffered, died, and was buried. On the third day he rose again, fulfillment of the Scriptures. He ascended into heaven, at the right hand of the Father. He will come again to judge the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. We believe in the Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life, who proceeds from the Father and the Son. With the Father and the Son he is worshipped and glorified. He has spoken through the prophets.
It's all faith. It's all, sometimes I don't think I pray enough, and sometimes I don't think Joe prays enough. When things go bad, it's like, well, are you praying? But yeah, I mean, everything you do, if you don't have faith in what you're doing and you don't trust in God, you need a lot of faith, because a lot of times things go bad and it would be easy to say, give up on God, but we know it's not God. Joe blames it on Mother Nature.
Every farmer seeds a little piece of grain and he wants to harvest it. He sees it grow to maturity, and if he loses it, that's part of his life that's gone. We're lucky we have this buckwheat. This buckwheat is more or less a little lifesaver for us, what we're doing with it.
The ploy's been around for many, many years. The ploys were was a traditional, it was a staple food. It was a flatbread eaten at every meal.
They would make them on top of the wood stove. Every day we had ploys with butter and rolled, and whatever was left over, we would put maple syrup, jam, jellies, whatever you had, and this was our dessert a lot of times.
It was something that we have all grown up with. We had them, three times a day.
This is not a new food item.
My sister went to New Orleans and purchased a box of beignets mix one year. Actually, that was how we got the idea of making ploys.
There had never been premix for ploys. Everybody made ploys, but all from scratch.
So we decided to just do a little research and find out, why. Had anybody ever tried it, and why wasn't it being done, and could it be done? We just thought that, this is something that we should give a try.
And got a brown paper bag and a label printed, and we went to our local stores. We started with our local stores, and people were very impressed with this,
And gee, it went so well that we had to increase our production. To today, well, we sell some of these stores 100 cases at a time.
They're made with buckwheat flour, wheat flour, baking powder, and some salt. All you do is add water to the premix. A great protein food. They're full of carbohydrates. There's no fat, there's no eggs, there's no milk, there's no oil. You don't even have to grease your griddle, so they're totally fat-free.
We don't really know where it came from. We don't know if it was brought from the Acadians as they were deported from Nova Scotia, or if it trickled down here from the the eastern part of Canada, the French-speaking people in the the Quebec region of Canada. But ploys are only eaten. It's a very regional ethnic food. They were only eaten in the northern part of the state of Maine, the St. John Valley, and the southwestern part of New Brunswick.
Right now we have to go to Grand Falls whenever we need some buckwheat milk. So it's kind of a hassle. We go there in the morning, we leave probably around 5:30 with 80 barrels. There's always something different and new at the border. Every time you cross, you don't know what to expect. The way customs are and the way the borders are, you never know when they might stop us for good. Luckily, we've been able to talk to the right people and have this buckwheat changed around so we can cross it. But one of these days, I'm afraid that might be put to a halt and no more crossing at all. This is we hope to utilize it one day as a grain processing building. Hopefully we'll be able to put a buckwheat mill in here down the road. So if we can have everything under one roof without having to run around to get our grain milled and grain milled anyway, well, rather have it home than run around for it.
Phil, do you want to eat?
Is that good, Jilly? Can you show me you can eat a carrot too?
In the past 20 years, we saw parts of our culture just disappearing. First with the French in the schools. Children were discouraged from speaking French, so the language was being forgotten. With the advent of the quick foods, people just weren't cooking anymore, so that was something that just really wasn't being eaten.
I think that the St. John Valley will always be the St. John Valley. It is unique. The St. John Valley itself is French. And I think it'll always be French. I mean, we're trying to preserve our heritage, and our heritage is French.
Hi. Hi, bonjour.
Comment ça va?
Ça va bien assez, merci.
Ah, mon doux.
Mon doux.
Tu te gardes bien.
Thank you.
Tu prends bon soin de toi?
Ah oui.
Good.
That's all I have to do.
Ah, bon, c'est ça.
C'est ça.
Ah, bon, c'est beau ta maison toute nette.
Oui, elle est bonne, par exemple. Elle a bientôt fait ça.
Ouais.
Yeah.
Puis, ils ont été mangés.
Pas de quoi complètement. Il faut projeter, si tu sais continuer à projeter, hein.
I was raised speaking French. I've learned a little English in school, enough to get me by.
Trop accoutumé à travailler.
Trop accoutumé à travailler. Puis moi, là, je veux dire, j'avais ouvert ça, moi, ce bureau-là, hein, puis j'avais trop mis là-dedans, j'avais trop attaché.
Je comprends.
J'ai ouvert ça, moi, avec une secrétaire.
Most people can communicate either in French or in English, some a little better than others. But I think it's a big plus because a lot of the business up here, you know, is done either with people along the border here that can only speak French or with Canadians.
Joe had a rougher time when he started farming because he had to communicate in French practically all the time.
My sisters grew up speaking French, my older sisters, but when me and my other sister, almost the same age, we grew up speaking English. And this is something that I learned through working with employees that were working for my father who spoke French, and I picked it up that way, which is a little more difficult than learning it when you were young.
I remember us being punished for speaking French in school. They wanted us to become much like the rest of the country, and the United States of America was English. I think with our generation, because when we started going to school, it was discouraged. You know, we were discouraged from speaking French, and we didn't really understand why. So we associated something wrong with, speaking French was wrong. And now you're seeing a flip-flop. You're seeing the people trying to preserve and resurrect the culture and the language.
I'm proud of my French, and I hope that it stays around in the valley for a long, long time. Long, long time.
I cannot see how a family farm can survive unless he diversifies, and diversifying is limited up here because of the fact that we do have only 90 to 95 growing days of whatever crop that we want to grow. We're limited on the crops that we can grow. I've been farming a long time, and I find it hard to believe, although I've never said die, and I'm still fighting. I think that the young farmer is today in Maine, in Aroostook County, has got a lot of water to thread if he wants to make it.
It doesn't look good as far as with the potatoes go. As far as, if we were just potatoes, it doesn't look good for any future generations taking over. But like I'm saying, if we can get this grain business going, this buckwheat business, and with other grain processing that we can do, I think, I hope we can go for it anyway.
To Joe, it's his life. I mean, it's in his blood. I can't see him doing anything else, and he can't see him doing anything else. I don't know what else we would do.
I don't worry about Joe because he has prepared himself for whatever should happen in the future. He's gotten himself a college education, and he has a wonderful gift, Janice, She's so creative, and she's got such an incredible business mind. I think that if the farm should fold up, I think for them they would turn that adversity into opportunity and move on.
It's sad to see anybody go because, you know, I know they feel the way we do. It's your livelihood, it's your home, it's your people, it's your land, it's your country.
If it wouldn't have been for the children, maybe we'd have had to let go of the farm. All of your children would help on the farm. It was a family thing. As soon as the child could do any little chore on the farm, he would do it. So they were extreme help to the family. We've developed the market with this buckwheat that we're growing, and we're doing extremely well with that. So that helps the farm, that helps the son out, and I really think that I've got hope that we will survive, and he will survive too, and raise his family on a farm. Like I did, and all my ancestors before me did.
I really can't complain. I mean, we've raised a good family, and we've raised that on farming. If it were to start over again, I think maybe I'd do the same thing. I'd do the same thing.
Maine Public Television's production of Our Stories is made possible through a television demonstration grant from Rural Development, part of the USDA.